Usually we use all the different kind of minds, we don't recognize it, we don't think also. But we have any different kind of minds, they have different jobs. Same thing like that. We can be a car, there are also many different parts, they have their own different works, same thing. Those are all minds. One kind of mind doesn't work, then that kind of place doesn't understand that subject or object. That kind of thing. 타나도 가상 같이 타나도 사지 주니 셰비가네. 사생활하는 거 시간을 시비하죠.
So we've been discussing or studying about the mind, according to a Buddhist philosophy text.
아니 신당 나와서 내가 당보다 내가 나와니까 그래서.
So of course Buddhism first came from India.
아니 근데 사실 좀 됐어요. 같이 다 나와라야. 여기 좀 같이 해야 돼. 근데 그런 만년 지금 가지에서 사과를 똑같이 해야 돼. 아니 나도 다 그냥 말라서 잡죠. 일단 나도 주의해서.
So the Buddhism is the teachings of the Buddha, who came in this world in India about 2,500 years ago, and through his experience he gained enlightenment, and whatever he experiences he gained, he taught that, and that became the Buddhism.
근데 또 남자들 가르쳐 버렸나? 사실 나와서 샘 골라서 나중에 좀 해서 샘 골라.
So all the advices are in relation to the mind, how to tame or train the mind.
어떻게 해봐야 지금 아니 로조야 뭐지 강고송아 강소아 마신 수준 때문에 양이 세워 있나? 샘을 지지가 샘을 받게 됐어.
So if we study and practice just as has been taught, then there will be improvement in one's mind for one person. So we're almost about to come to the end of the text. So here, as the last part is the mind and mental factor, or mind awareness and cognitions, according to the 4 different tenets.
And then Thubten Damchoe number in Bachi, and the number you can know, she told you to Matawa. Something Matawa. She
So these 4 different tenets, so 4 different schools of thoughts. Even though they're all the same, being a Buddhist, but because of different views, then they became 4 different schools of thoughts. So just like most of us, we all don't have same kind of thinking, right? We all have different ideas, different thinkings, and so it's just like that. So because Buddha is compassionate and very skilled in teaching, and therefore he taught these different views according to the different thoughts of different disciples. So somebody killed his parent and came to the Buddha, regretting so much that he has killed his parents. And at that moment, the person was in a great remorse or regret that he could have killed himself if he wasn't told that it is all right to kill his father and mother or kill his parents. So Buddha, knowing that, through his clear words, knowing that he told the person that it is all right to kill parents, because the parents are to be killed. So it's just like, if somebody made a mistake, and at that time, if the boss shouts at the person and scolds him, then the person will feel very bad. Instead, if he says, it's okay, it's all right, but be careful next time, don't make the same kind of mistake, and that person will feel much better. It's similar to that.
Did you guys
Make mistakes.
Make mistakes on the job? We all mistakes. What did he do? What the study job did he do? I'm not too strong. Did like part of my stage said the song. What?
So Buddha Shakyamuni told the person it's all right, to kill the parents, and said the father and mother to be killed.
아니 슈마티 메데다 사주는 지수 슈니 딱 오늘 로종 지에서 말라 딱 받아 마세바는 야보면 될 것이 하고 그래서
So when the person started to study and practice, then slowly he come to understand that it's not real, actually, the real kind of parents that Buddha is talking about. It's not really, of course, it's not all right to kill the real parents.
아니 사주는 딱 제가 지나는 그만에 바오가 쓰는 일이 없어서 딱 지금 뭐하다 그래서 사주는 소금만 지내다 지금 좋아서 딱 시원해요.
And so, then he asked a question to the Buddha, saying, before you said it's all right, to kill the parents, but now I can understand that it's not all right, to kill the parents.
어떻게 사주를 준비해서 어떤 게 티가 들어서 라베티 카드 파워라는 분이 라베티 다 몇차 시간이 다 배우지 그래서 다 밤마다 배우지 배우지 모르는데 또 소화해서
And this Buddha says, yes, at that time I told you, and what I meant by the father and mother are the delusions, the attachment and anger. So the father and mother are referring to the attachment and anger. So attachment and anger are to be killed, are to be eliminated. So anyways, that's how they came about these 4 different schools of thoughts or tenets, who were following 4 different views. So those of you who studied before, you know the rest of 4 different tenets are, first one is the Vaibhashika, and Sautantika, Siddharmathan, and Madhyamika. So the Madhyamika has 2 sub-schools, like Sautantika Madhyamika and Prasangika Madhyamika. So it's on the text?
On the text.
That's where I was, but I don't know if that's...
Mental factor, right?
Yeah, B.
So that's talking about mental factor. Yeah. Yeah, so in the page 56. Yeah, that's right.
Ancillary, the motive of certain.
Tennis, yeah. So last time we talked about a little bit about mind and mental factor, right? Briefly about mind and mental factor, and we didn't go through in detail because we said we're going to be studying more in detail about the mental factors, particular mental factors later, right? So it's just the numbers are here, right? Particular mental factors, but the definitions and explanation about these are explained in more detail in different texts. So that's what we'll study next. So that you see here, right, consider with respect to the modes of certain tenets, Vaibhashika, Sautantika, Madhyamika, and Prasangika, and so forth. So those are the 4 different tenets. And so here it says those schools like the Vaibhashika, Sautantika, Madhyamika, and Prasangika are assert that direct value cognizers are limited to 3. Sense direct perceiver, so those are the objects we perceive, or perception of the senses. So then comes the mental direct perceiver. So mental direct perceiver follows the sense direct perceiver. So first you see something with your eye, something, and then your mind starts, oh, it's that. Like when you see a flower, with your eye, then your mind thinks, oh, this is flower. So then that becomes the mental direct perceiver.
And 나중에 들으나 진짜 양념 가지고 가게 생기는 뭔가 이제 별로지 말이죠.
And the yogic direct perceiver, is the mind that is generated through the practice of meditation and concentrations.
다 되는 게 나중에서 내가 말했어. 나중에서 해야 돼. 나중에서 해야 돼. 같이 시바 코랑 쭈보면서 시바를 마시 이렇게 좀 느리게 다시 말했어.
And so this is because they do not exert self-knowing and direct perceiver. This is Thubten Damchoe and Yogacara Thubten Damchoe exert to Dimitri before. So anyway, so when they say that no self and a knowing direct perceiver, so that is the mind which only perceives itself, it doesn't perceive other things. And so there is a mind that perceives the mind itself is called the self-knowing direct perceiver.
단단하고 미식이 순통도 왔어. 미식이 쉽다 싫어 중통도 왔어. 대대는 많이 싫어 찌찌 많은 것이.
So there's this mind, right, which is called the eye consciousness, which sees the outside objects. You can see outside objects with your eye consciousness. So there's this mind which sees the eye consciousness itself, but not the outside objects. So that's called the self-knowing direct perceiver.
누구 온거다 즉시 대중샤는 미실했지. 근데 미실이 또 그래 다시야 통할 때는 나서 다 중통도
So the object appears to that the eye organ, right? The eye organ, which has that like a mirror, like an organ inside. It reflects to that, and then from that, then arises or develops the eye consciousness, which sees the object.
어디다 아니 들이다 같이 누구도 다 같이 실력이 동의도 와서 대만이 그냥 미시라고는 미시코라 미시냐도 나오는 게 되지 그래서 너도 봤을 때 미시 주범은 제가 개개 무동 미시가지 걔는 그래서 내가 다가도 되게
So there's this mind which sees the mind itself. So like the eye consciousness. There's a mind which sees the eye consciousness but does not see any other objects, any outside or external objects, and that's called the self-direct perceiver. And these schools like Babashika, Thubten Damchoe, and Kosenka do not exert that kind of mind.
아니 다 너도 생각 안 해줘 말하지 말는지 아니 무슨 생각을 온분이 지금 다른 많이 뭐지 다 비교하는 게 되는데 너도 생각 안 해줘 말하지 마세요.
So the others like the Thubten Damchoe and Yogacara Thubten Damchoe exert direct recognize it to be limited to four direct perceivers, like the sense direct perceiver, mental direct perceiver, self-knowing direct perceiver, and yogic direct perceiver.
이제 이제는 어떤 것들 딱 내가 스타트에 내가 계속 가가지고 이제 딱 나가서 제비기 전담하고 시는데 전담이나 마슈 대시랑 뭐들이 말이죠. 마오로.
So among these four different tenets of the Buddhism, the lowest one are the Babashkas and Thubten Damchoe.
대니대 아니 쉐웨 전에 나봐야 맞지. 딱딱에 전에 나봐야 매도 많이 벌었다.
So these two, in terms of conduct, they are Buddhist, but in terms of the view, they are almost like non-Buddhist.
아니 대제가 거기 따와야 되는 대대 따와 때도나 semsa바세.
And so the view is a little bit higher than that, with the view of this Dhammatin school.
대내야 때 도나네 다 오만지 바세.
And a little bit higher than that, would be the Thubten Damchoe.
아니 다 나도 다 남에게 다투고 저다 캐내야 돼. 다 뭐 단지 봐도 캐내야 돼.
And then ultimate school of thought that we as a Buddhist believe, is the Kurukulla school.
일단 지난번 시대 도매나 잠깐 좀 하고 넘었어.
So these are four different schools. Now you know which one is the lowest and highest, and what are they, right?
아니 다른 점이 같이 되네. 맞아. 다 너대 같이 생각 안 해주고 나주시고 말하지만 너대시고 말하지 마세요. 아니 아직 엄마가 이거 집같이 아니 아직 따와도 쉬어가 무엇을 지금 너대 같이 나주시고 너대시고 말하지 마시. 아니 대 말에 대한 나주시고 말하지 마세요.
And this is the Sautantaka assert that whatever is direct perceivable is necessarily a non-mistaken consciousness, but the Chitta Madhya do not. For Chitta Madhya assert that the sense direct perceivable in the continuum of the person apprehending form is a mistaken consciousness and so forth. So in the Madhyamika percentages of Sautantaka Madhyamika, they are true, right? Sautantaka Madhyamika and Yogacara Sautantaka Madhyamika. So these are also same being the Madhyamika, but Sautantaka Madhyamika, but because they have similar kind of thoughts or conducts according to these schools. So those which are similar to the Sautantaka is called the Sautantaka Madhyamika. And those which are very similar to the Yogacara, then it's called the Yogacara Sautantaka.
Yes, a motivation which one do the Canada. There is some said that motivation which goes to the Canada. In a sense of the Canada, a sense of it, so not and also no, also and also no. Which is open as another to share the
So, like it says here, something that whatever is a direct perceiver is necessarily a non-mistaken consciousness, but the Chitta Madhyas do not. For Chitta Madhyas assert that the sense direct perceiver in the continuum of an ordinary person apprehending a form is a mistaken consciousness.
What? They may gentilla Karadana, and that Omunadra, Mepa Nagar is what Mepa Sana Jilo, Killimishes Karna, Samsomati said you should have to Badma Canada. Sometimes you also should have to Jabba Caravata and then teach us what it is. Sense of Arabia should have come much. Should have more to hold it. Another Tita Canavata, the Tendo, only and was not to look carrying the sense of Arabia should have never come much. Tendo, only should you turn to Mauritius?
Okay, so, and then below that, a little bit further down, the second and third paragraph, it says the Sautantaka assert that whatever is a direct perceiver is necessarily a non-mistaken consciousness, for they assert that the sense direct perceiver in the continuum of an ordinary person apprehending a form is a non-mistaken consciousness. This is because they assert that a form is an external object in just the way that it appears to be to a sense direct perceiver in the continuum of an ordinary person apprehending a form. That the Sautantaka and Chitta Madhyas as well as Sautantaka, as well as direct perceiver, are necessarily free from conceptuality, but Prasangika do not. So that's inside that box, right? Which is usually, when someone says something, we tend to skip that, but here it is actually explaining why, what is the reason that Chitta Madhyas think that the direct perceiver in the continuum of ordinary person apprehending the form is a mistaken consciousness. If someone says that the reason is not established, it follows that Chitta Madhyas assert that because they assert that a sense direct perceiver in the continuum of an ordinary person apprehending a form is an awareness having clear appearance of non-existence. Right? This is because in the Chitta Madhyas system, external objects do not exist. But to a sense direct perceiver in the continuum of an ordinary person apprehending a form, the form appears to exist as an external object. So in the Chitta Madhyas school says there's no external object. But to ordinary person, when the form appears to their sense direct perceiver, the form appears as external object because it doesn't exist, and to them they see something, something as existent when it does not exist. Therefore, what they see is a mistake. So the external object doesn't exist, but it appears as existing, right? And so when it doesn't exist and it appears as existing, then it is mistaken. So this is again what Chittamatra thinks, right? They think that external things do not exist, and so therefore, and if you think that there's external, then that's a mistake. And then it's applied this similarly to the later four sense direct perceivers. So this is we're talking about the form apprehended by the eye consciousness, right? And now same, the sound apprehended by ear consciousness, or the smell apprehended by nose consciousness, the taste apprehended by tongue consciousness, and so forth. So this Yogacara, is the type of mind-only school, right? So the Yogacara, Thubten Damchoe have similar assertion. So the Yogacara, Thubten Damchoe has same assertion as the Chittamatra school. So if there are four of us, four different people, four of us, then each of us will have different way of thinking and different way of talking and so forth, right? So Thubten is the second lowest school. And since Thubten asserts that whatever is a direct perceiver is necessarily not mistaken consciousness. And suppose they assert that the sense direct perceiver in the continuum of an ordinary person apprehending a form is not mistaken consciousness. And says this is because they assert that a form is an external object in just the way that it appears to be one to a sense direct perceiver in the continuum of ordinary person apprehending a form. So with that explanation, it is not mistaken. And so according to the Thubten, and everything exists truly, right? All the external and internal objects exist truly. So knowing the one who asserts the external and internal objects to exist truly is the definition of Thubten school also. So if we have studied a little bit of tennis before, then it will, then we'll be able to understand. Otherwise, we will not have any understanding.
Right. You don't know what
we don't have any idea what it's talking about.
What? And Lorig did what? Should have met a channel. Lorig did the killing, teaching it to that sensitivity. Sense of us at it, and then Lorig doing it. Should tell it about the game much. What? I should tell it about the Buddhist. Lorig did the killing, teaching it to that sensitivity.
So like he says, the Thubten is a person found in and tennis who is both external objects and self-knowers to be truly established. And then the definition of the Chittamatra is the person performing Mahayana tennis who does not assert external objects but does assert self-knowers as truly established.
Thubten Damchoe tende 지금 야포중요 쇼서를 지금 내가 지금 안에 대신 좀 다 봐서 미디라고 쳐. 고래라고 나와있나?
그래서 Thubten
소소 중국어 쳐도 지금 대화 통도지. 대대대대대대대봐. 소소 중국어 쳐도 대화다. 대화 되는 얘기들 안에 대면치고 대면 봐라. 다 진짜 놓고 다 되면 봐서 아니 심지어 탐정에 대해서 상담 다 되게 다 진짜로 가서 대신 좀 봐서 진짜 제대로 수 걔네들 말이야.
So you understand the Hinayana, the difference between Hinayana and Mahayana, right? The Hinayana is someone who mainly thinks about oneself, for oneself and to achieve liberation. Of course, to think about others, but mainly about oneself. And then the Mahayana is someone who thinks about oneself, but mainly about others. Who mainly thinks about others. And then the tenets, according to that thought, is called the Mahayana tenets.
대단한 전기 남시에 대해서 당에서나 또다시 저와 똑바로 자기 작을 해서 돼 도대와지 샘섬하지 라제만 되지 다니면 되고 말이야. 그래서 똑바 많이 똑바 많이 그래서 또다시 저와 너는 네가 다 라제가 딱 도대와지 샘섬하지 아니 라제만 되고 그래서 그래서 똑바 많이 작을 해서 다니면 걔는 말했다.
So it's such a stated in the presentation of tenets, right? So more explanations on the tenets. So Sautantrikas and Chittamadhyas as well as Tantrika asserts that direct perceivers are necessarily free from conceptuality, but Prasangikas do not. This is because there are many differences in the Prasangikas mode of assertion.
다짐이 melodi가 지금 틀리게 캐내지. 그래서 다짐이다 melodi. 내가 다짐을 제시해다 참아를 잘했어. 이게 참아라 또 또 시간이니까 이거 제가 무슨 말하고 딱 제시를 참아를 잘하고 다짐을 더 많이 봐요. 지금 melodi가 지금 다짐을 더 많이 봐.
And so it says this is because there are many differences in the Prasangikas mode of assertion. They assert incontrovertible knower to be the definition of valid cognizer. Right? So it doesn't have to be new and so forth, but it has to be incontrovertible. So as long as it is incontrovertible knower, it is the valid cognizer. And so therefore the subsequent cognizer are necessarily valid cognizer. So it is incontrovertible. It's just that it's not new, right? But it's incontrovertible. So therefore it is valid cognizer. So that among the direct valid cognizers, there are both conceptual and non-conceptual consciousness and so forth.
근데 이다가 단제와 아니 말아봐 시바 강에 봐도 라리에는 말아봐 이다는 참아잖아요. 그래서
And so as long as it is incontrovertible, then any kind of mind that is incontrovertible, then that becomes a valid cognizer.
아니 나도 전딱 오멜라 시대 제시에서도 그거 다 참아래서.
And so according to this school, also the subsequent cognizer, which is not a valid cognizer, but according to this school, it's also a valid cognizer.
아니 또봐 이게 참아이가 다 제시해서 다
So therefore, valid cognizer, there are both conceptual and non-conceptual consciousnesses.
어떤 답조 단위를 갖다 그래서나 생체지 시발을 드시면 장에서 그렇게 그래서
So according to the Prasangic Madhyamika school, if it is consciousness within the continuum of sentient beings, it is necessarily mistaken consciousness.
아니 제가 있나 아니 딱 그런 사드다 아니 이거 사도이고 말해서 와 내가 말하는 상황처럼 그래서
for it to be a valid cognizer, it's not necessary to be new. As long as it is incontrovertible, knower, it is a valid cognizer.
어떻게 다시 좀 대화를 했다 해야지 공을 가지셔도 돼. 좀 말하시나. 좀 이제 나 싸우게 말아 되나가야 되지 않고 그냥 그랬죠. 당고 찍고 이제 가는 지시 당고 그냥 당고 시험 그랬어. 이거 소식 보기 시작했는데 지금 좋았어. 그래서 자 당고 공부 이진해서 나중에 자리를 딱 보내지. 어느 자꾸 이제 가는데 뭐 그래서 좀 이제 수도를 이제 그래서 좀 그런 것들 나중에 봐봐 크게 전화기 되나 주게 돼. 지을 때마다 이거 봐봐 크게 지을 때마다 이제 소식 하나 담으려고 거기다 보내놓지. 음악까지 지금
And then it talks about the order. The order of the four direct perceivers must be just as it is. For Gendon groups, no one mentioned for the valid organizers, valid reasoning, the general meaning of Dharmakirti's commentary on the Dignaga's compendium of valid cognition says, in what way is the order of the four direct perceivers definite? And the answer is that since the yogi direct perceiver exists only in the continuum of the superiors, they are indicated last. Since the other three direct perceivers exist in the continuum of both common beings and superiors, they are indicated first. Moreover, within those first three, the two other knowers are indicated first because they are objects of experience. Since self-knowers experience both of those, they are indicated last. And furthermore, this is between the first two, sense direct perceivers are indicated first because they are cause of the mental direct perceiver, and mental direct perceiver are indicated last because they are effects.
That time, the moment of the teaching is over the teaching is not only the writing is the negative regarding it, and each other teaching over the teaching is the writing is not only the function of the world. It took to the target.
So that's also, this is just explaining about the reason of these orders, which one comes first. So first you have the sense direct perceiver, led by the sense direct perceiver, then there comes the mental direct perceiver, right? And so the mental direct perceiver is the second, because it's the effect of the sense direct perceiver, and then the self-knowers or self-cognizer, self-knower is the one that recognizes both of them. Therefore, it's the third one, and then the last one, the yogi direct perceiver, is only generated in the superior's continuum. Therefore, it is the last one. So that's just the reason of these four different valid cognitions or valid direct perceivers coming in order.
That they are to say, "Oh, that is not my day."
So in the tenets, the explanations in the tenet is more in details. So this is the uncommon view of the Pasagya Madhyamika school to say that well, it's uncommon assertion, not the views, assertion of the Pasagya Madhyamika school to say that the definition of the valid cognition is incontrovertible knower. So therefore, it's not necessary to be new. Therefore, subsequent cognizer also becomes a valid cognizer according to this school.
Okay.
So that completes about the difference in the tenets, and now comes the expressive sound. So this is the number 3, right? So what are the first two? You know? This is number 3 of what 3? What 3 is? Huh? Yuchit, yes. What was that?
The object possessing. I don't know if that what they're calling it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah,
Object possessing.
Yeah.
So object possessor, so object possessor, 3 definitions, right? I mean, so 3 divisions, right? The first one is what? Person, mind, and expressive sound, right? So this is the third one now, expressive sound. We talked about the person, we talked about mind in detail, and now it's talking about explaining about expressive sounds.
What the are you okay?
Yeah.
That's okay. The year time you just had it, you should have not really charged it.
So we talked about the object possessor, right? So object possessor is the one which possesses the object, which possesses the object. And so everything that has Well, the thing that possesses its respective object is the definition of the object possessing, right? So, so that which has an object, it's called object possessing. That which has object, it's called object possessing. It's easy, right? Object possessing is that which has object, and so when we talk about the object is something that exists. So anything that exists is object.
가지 말아왔습니다. 나도 강사가 생체의 시기로 하고 왔어.
So, so these three different things, which has an object, like the person knows, the person possesses, right?
아니 나도 시바가 똑바로 하고 왔어.
And of course, the person or the mind knows, right? Mind knows, mind recognizes.
아니 나도 자세히야 나 하고 안 되는 공부 하고 시기로 왔어.
And the sound also knows, right?
나도 시서 말로 섬레스. 자세히 시바야 말에 강사야 말 왔어. 아무도 자세히.
So there's three different ways of knowing. So the expressive sound is not a person, not a mind, right? Not a consciousness.
아니 시바 대한 강사야 말에 자야 말 왔어.
And then also the consciousness is not sound and it's not a person either.
근데 강사 대한 아니 시바야 말에 자야 말 왔어.
The person is not sound and not consciousness either, right?
그래서 나도 남에게 다 남불이라 다 신이 됐으면 가리비자 신이 됐으면 가리비자 그래서.
So according to Buddhism, if it knows that it has to be either of these three.
조선은 자달해봤어. 고사해봤어.
So what do you think? Is it necessary?
You think? 신이 들어.
Someone who knows. If it's someone or something that knows, it has to be either of these three: person, consciousness, and expressive sound.
If it knows?
Yeah. Possessing object? Possessing object or knowing?
The sound itself doesn't know.
Yeah, that does.
Right.
So not necessarily knowing or possessing object, right? Possessing object.
Yeah.
Possessing object doesn't mean knowing.
I think you can say it has an object.
Have an object or possesses object, but not necessarily knowing. Yudan demas. 하고.
이걸도 된발라 아니 tatesmo 가는 저거구나.
So if it possesses object, then it has to be there. It has to be either of these three.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Is there
다음은
anything?
이걸도 되는데 하고 올라가 와서 앞서서
하고
진짜요.
하고 말이야.
하고 없잖아.
유대.
이것도
유대 돼.
이것도 안 돼.
그렇지. 그래.
Yeah, sure. It sounds right. It's just saying it has a
다 자기 입을 듣고 다 제자 식을 했더니 자기 지어가 되니까 고시는 거지.
You said it didn't have an object, you didn't know what it was.
Yes. If you didn't have object, you wouldn't know what it is.
근데 컴퓨터는 너무 신기해 봤어. 근데 컴퓨터의 위치에 대해서는 가능. 컴퓨터는 너무 신기해 봤어.
What about computer?
They don't know.
내가 하던
But they have object.
Do they?
근데
Don't they have object?
I don't think so.
You
I
must.
mean, if you say like the house has a door, so therefore a house has an object. If that's how you're going to say it, then of course the computer also has an object.
It's just
But if you mean the
yeah.
sound,
No, not in that way.
sound, what we are talking about here, expressive sound, the way that sound has an object in this is that the sound itself is associated with something that people can know from the sound. Yeah, like a symbol, a sign for something.
Yeah.
So dog is just like my mouth making a sound, but that sound itself becomes a symbol for the animal that we call dog.
Well, it's like mixing the meaning, the sound generality, and the meaning generality mixed, right?
Something like that, yeah. But I mean, basically, with like that's how language works. Or even it's a sound, but it has a meaning too. Like, excuse me, look over here. You know, it's also has a meaning.
So the expressive sound is not like actual, not like in a regular normal sound. Normally when you say sound, it can sound the sound of wind, the sound of hurricane, or like that. So you can have those kind of sounds. Those are not expressive sound. Expressive sound is a sound like the vocal sound, you know, so which kind of calls the name or describes some object, something like that. And so in this case, you know, so according to this, then that which possesses the object has to be of these three. Right? So now the first thing it has the definition and division. The definition, it says like an object of hearing that causes the understanding of this one object, object of expression, through the force of nomenclature. So nomenclature is that which comes from the person's thought or tongue. So it's an object of hearing that causes the understanding of this one object of expression through the force of nomenclature. And it's called the expressive sound. So by expressing the sound, the dog, it says when somebody says dog, so by expressing their sound, you come to understand, you have the idea what is talking about, or who is calling, and so forth. It says that when these are divided by way of entity, there are three: names, phrases, and letters. So what is name? So there's the definition of name here. Okay? An object of hearing that causes understanding of its own meaning. So that's the definition of name. Is that right?
There are cups.
So this is called cup, right? So by expressing the sound cup, we come to understand the meaning, the meaning of this thing, right?
And
then the name there can be actual names and the designated names. And then the definition of the actual name of a certain object is that which is observed as the common locus of being a term initially applied arbitrarily to that object and being the main name of that object. So for example, this is things called the table, right? The name table. So, but we can call it, a place to put a book, a place to put a cup. And so that actual name would be the table, right? Of this thing, the actual name. So just like that, somebody who is called John at the beginning, from at the time when he was born, and he's called John. So that becomes his actual name.
아주 미가가 너무 미다서 와서 별로 지려야 아니 자신에 나도 제 워커 자신에 근데 주마 마음만 근데 워커 자신에 너무 미리 걷다 왔는데 나도 놓고 성토가.
So whatever the name the person was given at the beginning, at the time of birth or after birth, it's good if the person is called Tashi, and then from that this person becomes a Tashi. And whenever we see the person, we call that person Tashi.
저번에 금방 와서 타보지는 들어야지. 그러니까 그래서 안 미신것이. 내가 지와로 따서나 내가 금방 지와다는 다른 지와 차례서. 내가 목사 내가 지와 따서는 거기 나는 지와는 내 목차례.
So if the book was called a rosary at the beginning, everybody would call this a rosary. So it's, turn to the page 10 of the rosary. So they call that rosary, right? So if it's given the name. And if the rosary was given in a book, then you would call it, use the rosary to count the mantras. Use the book to count the mantras.
Anyway, that means that
So that's the name, right? Actual name.
He told us, Jetta the Dutch, make a power which is Tommy, not Tommy. Young me the Tommy years,
and that is the definition of the designated name of a certain object is that which is observed. Which is observed as a common locus of being a term later applied to that object and being a secondary name of that object. So an illustration of an actual name is in the speech calling the king of beasts lion. So the lion is not necessarily the king of the beasts, but because the king of the beasts is the name designated. Yeah, designated to a lion. Similar. So then this is when designated names are divided. There are two. Name designated by reason of similarity and the name designated by the reason of relationship. And it says illustration of the first is a name designated by the reason of similarity is speech calling a Brahmin's son who has a big mouth and hard nose, a lion. So this Sulota.
Tell us Sangish Towers.
Calling the sons of Brahman lying in this way.
It
just means the physical feature resemble the creature, so they just call that in.
So what is the Brahmanas here?
I don't know.
Brahman's son.
It must be some story. Which was a character. Chandrakirti has a lot of funny stories making fun of birds.
그래서 잠세기 부 같이 뭐
같이
나도
다니는
이제
거구나.
생겼어.
그래 가지고 잠세 부 같이 모이면 나니 거더라. 근데 그 속에 저를 생기 따서
What we say in English, like if there's a huge man with a lot of hair on his arms and neck and really big, we'll call him bear.
같이 다니는
Yeah, because of the similarity, right? So that's the example, the first one.
근데 단 저와라야 대시제 다치는 저니 됐어.
And then now again the relationship, the two, the name designated by the reason of causal relationship and the name designated by the reason of relationship of nature.
대시제 되는 다 마치 주제로 이제.
So the first one is the causal relationship.
당보야. 다 당보야. 대시제 하면 저기 지면 저거라다 봐. 재미 있다다 보니 그래서.
With respect to the first, the name designated by the reason of the causal relationship, there are two designated names in which the name of the cause is designated to the effect, and designated name in which the name of the effect is designated to the cause.
다 공부를 했을 때 님이 어디라 님 맛이 좀 왔다고. 님이 어디를 님은 제가 인사 아니 저거라다 집이 왔다고 그래서.
An illustration of the first is designated name in which the name of the cause is designated to the effect is speech calling sunlight, sun. The sunlight is the result or the effect of the sun, right? But it's called sun.
아니 다 이반을 정화하다가 제거하시 좀 왔다고 그래서 재미 있잖아.
And then the illustration of the first, the illustration of the second. It says the name in which the name of the effect is designated to the cause is speech calling a correct proof, statement, and inferential organizer. This is Japa.
정화를 제로. 정화를 제로. 그리고 정화기. 그거 다 하지. 근데 정화. 근데 아니 딱 그러나. 그거 다 저기 당연히 정화다. 근데 제가 지금
Yeah, the correct proof, statement, and inferential organizer. 이거래. 대부분 미어다.
재미 있잖아.
미어다.
그래 정화하다가 제법 제로. 하고 정화하다가 근데 제법 제로.
아무 제발.
하고 정화하다가 근데 따다가 근데 제법 제로. 하고 다
제발게.
하고 다 제로. 근데 정확해. 근데 이제 따다가 근데 제법 제로. 하고 다 지게. 근데 정확해. 근데 이제 따다가 근데 제자 또 이제 마셔.
저거도 저거잖아.
제발 좀 줘. 내가 재미 있게 했다.
유미 저거다.
Because the correct proof is supposed to cause the
The
result.
inferential
The
cognition.
result is the inferential cognition if
Yeah.
once someone establishes the
Yes.
correct proof.
So here, the name of the effect is designated to the cause. Oh yeah. It should be like inferential calling.
It should be
Calling inferential organizer and correct proof of statement, right?
No. It's right the way it is here. The correct proof of statement is the
Actual cause.
Yeah.
That's
but
the
you are
cause.
calling the correct proof statement an inferential cognizer.
You mean, but it says the effect is designated to the
To the
cause.
cause, yeah. The cause of the inferential cognizer is the correct proof statement. By supplying the correct proof statement, you cause the other person to have the inferential cognition. They understand the meaning of it.
So the correct proof statement will be the cause.
Yeah.
Inferential cognizer will be the result.
Yes.
So if you are applying the name of the effect to the cause, then the name and the effect is cognizer. In inferential cognizer, the cause is the correct proof of statement, right? And so So it should be the.
No, it's correct. The way it is.
Simply, would this be like calling fire smoke?
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
This would be
right,
like
yeah.
calling fire smoke, right?
Yes, similar.
Okay.
다
Try to
이파디
simplify.
다 진짜 해야 돼. 다 진짜 가능. 대주는 대화에 대주는 거예요.
나뉘지.
나니치 세야 돼. 나도 다 미단치 말했어. 나도 다 미단치. 말아서 또 미단치 말어. 아니, 불바 이보다 단치. 시시라도 좀 나가다치고.
지지라.
시시하고 하고 말았어.
하고.
시다 이보다 시와 이 다치네 말이죠.
So, and then again, that's called, the generality and the particularity. When you talk about the general, in general, it's the thing. Thing will be a general, but if you call this, a table, the particular thing. So the thing and the table, have this relationship of a nature. They're both being thing and so forth. So then talks about the particularity and generality, and so that relationship as a person is a human being. So person, human being is a person. The person will be a general, right? The general term for all the beings. Like animal is a person, God is a person, helping is a person. Just like that, a human being is also a person. So again, if we say person in general, but maybe in English, when we say person, it almost like only refers to human beings. Right?
I think that 그 카드 스바라 레이 쓰기시 좀 하다. 레이스나 내가 레이라 그랬어. 내가 봐 나내 카드가 뭐다 레이 쓰는
So it says like nature is like the speech holding the burnt fringe of a piece of cloth, burnt cloth. Now the fringe of the cloth is not really necessarily cloth, right? The cloth is the general. The particular is the the fringe, is the particular part of the cloth. So when you see the fringe is being burned, then you say, oh, the cloth is burned.
왔다 가지 가서 밀어야 운이 미치는 능력이거든. 근데 딴데 가거든. 운이 미는 가서 능력을 가졌어.
So same with the human beings and people, right? We also have an actual name and then designated or nickname. So because he has similar features, something or some other beings, then you can give him the nickname of that person or that thing. So in the monasteries, we have a lot of nicknames for monks.
Someone says, someone memorized some text, you call Katology, you hire you. He always memorized that you call Katology, you call them name, the text name. You let them many names, different kind of, whatever they are not interested, then they give the name for them. What is that? Touch the country, that country, the part of the, another meal, what? That's the thing to us. 최주전 때문에 예전 측은지 세전은 그제는 나타나 지구 취지 지가 다.
네. 냉전의 책지. 이게. And so then the next one, second one is the praises, right? With respect to the second, the threefold division of the expressive sound, the definition of praise is an object of hearing that indicates meaning by joining substratum and attributes.
Well, the Jena, Mataba, and the case Jibada, Chasing the Jiji, and a Chechu Mataba, and Jipa, Kiwa, another Chechu was.
So it says that an illustration of the praises and Allah's products are impermanent, subject to production and disintegration, and so forth. So 메타버리죠. 게시지.
대신은 따라서.
이제 아니라
대신 제시지.
이제 게시지.
제주 못 따라지. 아니 뛰어가지. 지금 받을 때 대신 제주. 지금 그거죠.
So the substratum and with the product here, and then when such products are impermanent, subject to production and disintegration, those are the attributes.
아니 가지 나도 라바는 가지고 제주. 나도 라비 제주 좀
So like just like our hand will be our attribute, so we are the substratum of the hand.
라바도 보고 제주로 갔어. 제주.
Our hand is our attribute.
제주 나가서 제주. 와도 다섯번 이렇게 되냐면 미팅이 제주 지금 깨진 나와서 아 민도 세계가 소재기 아 깨더라 민가 세계가 남도 소야 그 소재기 깨더라 이렇게 하죠.
And then the third one is the letters. With respect to the third, three-point division of the the definition of the letter is a vocalization that is the basis of forming the two, the name and phrases. The names and phrases. So through the letters, then with the letters you make the names and the phrases, right? So the 26 letters, right, in the alphabet. In Tibetan we have 30 letters. So in English it's only 26, so Tibetans are superior.
We are more efficient.
More efficient.
Okay?
So with the letters, then you make the names and the phrases, right?
아직은 같이 나한테 딴다게 이렇게 제자리 와서 이렇게 따봐야 되지 나한테 주식 담다고 이제 이제 따고 모두 소수로 살았어 이걸로 내가 다 같이 되지 같은 거 못하는 거잖아 finish 같이 되죠
Sounds that express types and sounds that express collection.
알아야 제시잖아요 하고 제시잖아 제시 거기나 리치지잖아 투지잖아 예스 나대 리치도 투지다 다 거기 무슨 말 소지지자
소지가 있다.
리치지자 소지 리시다 소시에 가지다 시시라는 기본으로 다 그런 거 주시. 뭘 갖고 있어? 아니 줍도 아니 아니
소지에다가 리주에다가 무시를 한다고.
무시 가면 된다.
맞아. 가지죠.
아니 담아도 소시다 리주에다 고라하고 그러니까 그 무시가 하고. 시야시면 다들 리치지다 강의 소시지다 많이 이것이 제시배다들 소시지다 많이 받은 친 소시 많이 되죠. 배모 많이 되죠. 그래서 가제 배모 시지는 잘라 아니 그래 리치지다 아니 시야지다 되니 그래 리치지다 마시배다 돼 소시지다 저
뭔가 가본
뱀보
소지다.
뱀보에 빠진 코지지다가 소시지다 아니 따빠야이요 아니 시에 지금 다들가 소시지다 리치지다 가본이 지금 소시지다 그랬어 시작이 자들 리치지다 그랬어 리치지다는 리치 시작하고 따빠야
무엇이 저다 이제 Geshe Ngawang Tenley.
show, they are sharing what the more equal, the more sharing, and it's to see his sharing, and the more money get around, she does. Sharing, the more money get around, they do that, and the rich does. Sharing, and the more money get around. 시자식보다 더 리치다 그래서 시자식보다 더 리치다 그러나 시자의 리치한테 다 공부 말해서 공부하시면 네가 해서
공부 맞아.
공부 시험 공부 말하면 딱 맞더라.
공부 맞아. 가면 들어도
가는 제일 쉬운지
가지는 거. Anyway, that's a different way of explaining the types, right? The express type, and express collections. And so later it says here that with respect to the difference between the sounds and express type, and sound that express type and sound that express collection, there are four possibilities. Something that is sound expressing type but not the sound expressing collection. Something that is sound expressing collection but not a sound expressing type. Something that is both of those, and something that is neither of those. The first possibility exists because the sound that expresses object of knowledge is a sound expressing a type, but is not a sound expressing a collection. The first reason that the sound expressing object of knowledge is a sound expressing a type has already been established. It is not a sound expressing collection. It follows with regards to the subject. The object of knowledge that the sound that expresses it is not a sound that expresses collection because it is not a collection generality. This follows because the object of the knowledge is not a matter. This follows because the object of knowledge is not a thing. And then the second possibility is a sound expressing a collection that, but not a sound expressing type. That is because the sound expressing the two, pillar and pod, is the sound that expresses the collection, but not a sound that expresses type. The reason is the two pillar and the pod is sound that expresses the collection. It's not expressed. It follows with respect to the subject, the two pillar and pod, that the sound expressing it is a sound that expresses the collection, but because it is the collection generality. So that's the two of the pillar and pod is not a sound that expresses type. It follows with the respect to the subject, the two pillar and pod, that the sound expressing it is not a sound that expresses a type because it is not a type generality. It follows because for the two pillar and pod is not a generality. And this follows because in an instance now it does not exist. So if it is express collection, if it is sound that expresses collection, then it's not necessarily. It's necessarily not a generality. So because there's nothing, there isn't a thing that is both part and pillar, right? So both those expresses that expresses collection and sound that expresses type exists because the sound expressing part is both of those. So the part is both in expressing collection and expressing sound expressing collection and sound expressing type. If someone says that the reason is not established, it follows with respect to the subject of part that the sound that expresses it is both a sound expressing type and sound expressing a collection, because it is both generality and mass, which is an aggregation of the 8 substances: earth, water, fire, winds, visible forms, water, taste, and tangible objects. Pretty easy to understand, right?
Isn't the sound collection express both the collection and the type? If you just say collection?
Yes, it's both.
Yeah.
Expressing the collection and expressing type. Because it has the collection of all these 8 substances. So therefore it's a collection, and it's the type because it's a general. So the word, the part, and that's the general, right?
But I mean the word collection itself
Yeah.
is also a sound expressing collection and expressing type.
Oh yes.
Because a collection is a type.
That's right, yeah.
And also it's a collection.
Collection, yes.
It's cheating, but
Yeah, you can say that.
엔딩이 쉬셔 로주 제뉴얼
ah,
쉬셔 따요 쉬셔 쉬다 쉬라.
Have you studied about generality and particularity?
a little bit, yeah.
그 대로주 제뉴얼은 나도 따는데 하고 말았어.
So if you haven't studied that, then you will not understand this.
나 웨스턴 나 이나서 웨스턴. 오케이. 다 들으러 오래 가지. 다 뒤라. 그러면요. 이제 다 리바지한. 다 리바지 뭐 먹어야죠.
So what's the fourth possibility? That's the
So the next text is from the same book, right?
다음 가서 이거.
Yes.
아.
Do you want the Tibetan? I have the book, and then a friend of mine gave me the entire book.
No, I have book. I have book. It says that.
I mean, I have that as a PDF. Then you can use it in your phone.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah, you can send me. Email me.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Finish. 그래서 가지 로리 사실 마도 로리 제외해서 와. 근데 그때도 좋아요. 와, yes.
So we have completed this, without missing any part of the text.
사실
I
마도.
hope.
사실
I have one question about the text. The text is about.
So anyway, Geshe, let me finish that. Geshe hopes that this has benefited you guys a little bit.
사실 마도 전에가 나도 같이 교화야 봐서 yes. 일단 내가 공부했어.
Although we haven't been able to study it all in length, but at least we have covered the outlines of the text. So, sort of outline. So this is the humble way of saying it. At least we covered the outlines.
This is pretty much. It's pretty detailed.
That's right.
투시식 하나가 야보주고 있는데 애들이 주로로 지지해줘. 나는 엄마는 주로로 지내냐? 이게 뜻이 안 나다. 가가지에서 샤샤를 해서
So this gave myself some opportunity to also to study about it, to review it. Because I studied a long time ago, and after that I never studied it, never touched it. It was piled in the dust. So I undusted.
내 때부터 때도 로조 지내 가지도 때도 따는데 빨라면 선물 아이고
Yeah, so if you study it and then also read about other, when someone says, and that gives you a lot of ideas also. So it's called the magical key. Yeah, magical key that opens the doors of all ideas.
일단 오늘 세리받은 게 싫지만 일단 이제 시발이 싫어.
So it's just like the science. They all talks about mind. Mind science.
내 살림 가도 다 세중 같이 세대 딱 가도 책상이 약도 누가 다 먹을 수 있고 제제제제로 수수 시대 가이가이 넣어서 그래서.
And now after this we're going to study about the 51 mental factors, and those are all different kind of minds. What kind of different what kind of minds are there, and what are their functions, and so forth. So, for example, if we say attachment is a type of mind, so what is attachment? What is the nature of attachment? What kind of mind is called attachment? So, it explains all these different kind of minds in that way.
그래다 가지고 가도 그 담보 이렇게 거다 다시 뭐 가서 힘들게
신경 없으세요?
다 대선 체를 맞춰야 되니까 가시
So you might have noticed the first day when we started this class, like maybe 40 or 50 people, right? We shrank, and it's just handful left. But there have been some people who haven't missed any classes. That's very good. And even if you don't study or don't learn, but at least you have some good impression in your mind. So now please dedicate the merit that we have created, whatever merit that we have created from studying this text, for the teachings of the Dharma, teachings of the Buddha, the Dharma to increase, and for sentient beings to be happy, and for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, also for and all the holy beings teaching the pure Dharma to have long and stable life, and for all their holy wishes to be successfully accomplished.
Okay.
No.
You had a question about this text.
No, I just was going to say it's an object and object possessor, but the object is like one paragraph.
Yes.
And then the rest of the whole book is just the object possessor.
Object possessor, yes.
Yeah, it seems so. Object is so neglected.
How about 유대 유전거라면서 유대 인텔라면서 유거들 주우지 못했어. 아니 유전거들이 많다 쉐셔. 왜냐면 많다 쉐셔.
We're Buddhist.
How about
Maybe because we are Buddhist.
근데 유전거들이 왜냐면 많다 쉐셔. 유전거들이 다시 유전거들아 왜냐면 많다 쉐셔. 왜? How about
How can you talk so much about the object possessor when there's only like 3 objects?
왜냐면 많다 쉐셔. No, it's just talking about the object possessor, right?
Yeah.
It talks a lot about object possessor, yet you don't even understand it.
Yeah.
And it talks a lot about it, but you don't even understand it. So, that's way of saying it, right? I was just testing your Tibetan. And anyway, so about the object, it all talked about, and when we study about existence, about established best, and all these things. So that's all about object, right? Everything that exists is object, so not really much to study about it. So 1 page is enough for that.
When I reviewed that section, I lost the object section.
Yes. Okay.
I had 2 questions on the text.
Text is very finishing. Now, what question?
The expressive sounds. Does it have to come from a sentient being to be an expressive sound?
Nothing goes.
Yes.
So if a robot says like cup, it wouldn't be expressive sound?
컴퓨터.
해 바지 이런 데 넣어도 있었는데
가서 레드.
그래도
Well, I think it is.
Typical.
Human made the.
그때 못 봐서 소리를 왔어. 뭐 왔다면서
제비고를.
What about a parrot that says cup?
어디서?
아이 무슨 셈이야 너.
Parrot sentient being, right?
So, but it wouldn't be for a robot, like something that's not a sentient being?
No, but that is also created by human being, right? So you can call it an expressive sound.
Even in the way the parrot says cup, it says it because it heard a human say it.
Yes.
That's good.
So,
The other one was the definition of a human being, somebody with the ability to speak and understand.
Yes.
What about the demigods and gods who can speak and understand?
하다 가만히 있어. 미다 그 마시다고 리스네 받았어. 마시다고 리스네 받았어. 하다 가만히 있어. 그 마시에다 대고 리스네 받았어. 미래에서.
리스네만 말했어. 무슨 말 그래서 많이 말해.
So there's again they changed the definition. So it's not just having ability to understand and speak, but having the ability to understand and speak, who is the type of human being? Has to be a type of human being. Type of human being.
So that comes into
that comes, yeah,
Okay.
comes into the definite part of the definition of human being. So they make that, that addition to make it full. If otherwise, then yes, like you said, lots of demigods will become human beings also.
아니 아무리 좋은 예쁘게 나와가지고 어디 시식을 고마져야 그 미를 생각하는 미라고.
So the child who is inside mother's womb, like 4 months old or 5 months old child inside mother's womb doesn't know how to speak or understand, right? But because they fall under the category of human being, therefore you can call that type of human being.
Potential is what it is.
Yes. Potential, yes, of course there is. So yeah, that's how you will define human beings by this definition.
Okay.
You reminded me of what I was thinking of. So for expressive sound, there's the story of the Dharma drum. So
Yes.
in one of the heaven, there's a drum, and every time they hit the drum, it communicates like impermanence and impurity and selflessness and those kind of things. And also in the Prajnaparamita Sutra, there are a number of stories where, like, in the place where there's one great bodhisattva teaching, the wind in the trees teaches the Dharma to the people. The sound of the stream going by is teaching the Dharma.
The blessed teachings.
Yeah. So like, are these expressive sounds or?
신기하니까.
나도 그래서 제주도라 그랬어.
나 제주도 물어봤어. 맞아 지금 제주도에 그러나 다보 신앙 사직에다 그거 하시는 거야. 제주도는
Yeah, so it came from human being, it came from Buddha, through Buddha's blessing, So you can call it expressive sound.
In the end, does expressive sound have something to do with the hearer? The hearer who hears it too?
또 겁니다, 나를 그랬어, 지금. 조지네. 또 조지기 전에.
제주도에 다 다보 농사를 끼었다고 그래. 깨끗한 쉬운. 다 제대로 깨끗한 쉬운. 다 사실 좀 전에 그거 신기하다 싶어야 그거 다
Yeah, so because I don't know if it has to do with the hearer, the person who's hearing. But anyway, so even the blessed, those sounds that come from the trees or from the drum, is blessed by the Buddha. So then in that case, you can say it's the expressive sound. And also there's the one umbrella deity prayer. So that was taught by Buddha from his Ushnisha. And it's not, he didn't move his mouth or tongue or lip at all. And he was just, his mouth was shut, closed, but he all spoke from his Ushnisha. So those are teachings and the expressive sound, yes.
Okay. I think so. I didn't heard, the text, somebody said all this and that, but
So, if you analyze with the reasoning, then you have to accept that it is the expressive sound.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody.
So page 39, Thanksgiving Mandala offering. Guess we didn't do that in Tibet. Sashi.